Hello again, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful Thanksgiving yesterday. I know I did in Louisville. I'm sure you did as well. And it is now time to get ready for Christmas and all that. But before we do that, we have a lot of sports to go through. Tonight, the UK basketball Wildcats are at home against Marshall. The football Wildcats on the road against Louisville. High school football state semifinal action. Where would you like to begin, sir?
I defer to the second half.
All right, so I guess I'm kicking off here right now and receiving. Kicking off and receiving. Basketball Wildcats meeting the Marshall Thundering Herd tonight. And I'm intrigued by this a little bit only because...
Oh, you should be, yeah.
But the Wildcats coming off a unexpected situation with St. Joe's. St. Joe's hits 15 threes and blah, blah, blah. And Reed Shepard does his thing late. They win in overtime and, you know...
But here's why you're intrigued now.
No, I know, but I'm letting you set it up.
So you had the St. Joe's thing.
Yeah.
Miami, nationally ranked, comes in here on Tuesday night.
Yep.
They got one of the country's best offenses.
Yep.
So the Marshall coach is Dan D'Antoni, the older brother
I love
of
that guy.
Mike.
That guy's awesome.
Okay, but for those of you who are old enough to remember, doesn't it sound like a 1970s or 80s detective show? I think we need to call Dan D'Antoni.
Book him, Dano.
That's right. So this guy coaches high school basketball for 30 years in South Carolina. Same school, which is a pretty... So then he goes to work for little brother Mike, who was head coach of the Lakers and the Knicks.
Yeah.
And he's with him for another 10 years. And now he's been at Marshall for 10 years. The dude has been in coaching for over 50. He's 76 years old. But the reason you ought to be intrigued, because besides his great personal story, they average taking under 15 seconds to put up a shot.
Yeah.
And that's what he's always done. That's that, you know, when Patino did threes and people do deflections and all that stuff, his metric is how quick can you get shots up? And most of them are threes. Now, they've been shooting horrifically this year. They really have. They won their last game over in was it the Cayman Islands, I think it was, or some tournament like that. They lost 2, won 1, and they've been on the road for like about 10 days. I think they came right here from the Caymans, and then they're going to head back over to West Virginia. But I mean, this is a stretch where if you're a Kentucky fan, you're going to be doing it. I mean, Jack Givens is going to have to be more succinct tonight on the UK radio network than he's ever been, because Tom's going to say, and here comes Marshall the other way. Here comes Marshall the other way. And they will keep the gas down all night, my friend.
One thing I love about Coach D'Antoni, I hope he does it tonight. He's done it for several years, but haven't seen Marshall in person. When he is in the 48 state, the lower 48.
Lower 48. Or I guess if you've been to the Caymans, the upper 40.
He will wear like a Marshall T-shirt.
He still does.
And he may put a sport coat over top of it.
Most of the time he does.
And it's just, now that's interesting. You
right.
know, and it's going to be all kinds of different, the state of West Virginia in green, whatever it is. But he's a unique dresser.
Showing the brand.
Yeah. And, you know, Chin Coleman said last week when we got to speak with him about the UK staff wearing suits again. And
so what was his explanation?
Well, Chin Coleman is a fashion plate. I mean, that guy with the glasses, with the suits, you may not see the same combination.
But he is going with the high waters this year, though. I know the young kids do that. He hadn't come out with no socks yet, which a lot of people do.
But he said, he goes, you know, I like to dress up. I like to put on the suit. I like to do this. I like to do that. He said, I was kind of tired of looking like a high-paid gym teacher when they just wore their sweatsuits. But hey, La Familia, you know.
I think there could be another reason, but we'll talk about that off the air. I do, though, want to find out where he got the Cats hat.
Yeah, that's
a pretty stout hat.
That has been.
I'm going to ask him during pregame tonight.
I'm a retro guy. Like most things that are
big letters, flat bill.
You know, I said this the other day. If you watch Purdue over the last couple of days, you know Zach Edey. He's their 7'3" giant, whatever he is. Uniforms today have become bigger.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Fab Five with Michigan brought out the baggy shorts and all that. But over the years, the uniforms get bigger, the numbers and the fonts get smaller. Where when you and I were younger, you had much smaller uniforms, but the numbers and the lettering was larger. Zach Edey, He's 7 foot, whatever, 300 pounds. The numbers look like they're that big on him. I mean, you need, everybody needs my readers.
Like when the Reds had to spell Ted Klazuski on the back of the jersey.
Or Householder, and they had to start from the spine to go to the spine. Wayne Krejcicki is also coming in.
To speak to that, I was looking at some old stuff today. I'm no Brian Milam, but so Mark Klein is one of the assistant coaches at Marshall, who played at Wake Forest in the 80s.
Played at Williamson High School.
Yes,
Alan Hatcher.
It was Alan Hatcher. Great call. And so some of those uniforms, and this was just in the 80s. I mean, but yeah,
I like those.
Yeah.
And that is going to segue. We'll come back to UK football in a minute. But let's just, while we have this moment, let's just segue into something else. Yesterday, on my way to Louisville, I got to stop at Franklin County High School. And they are in the state semifinals for the 4th year in a row. That's not happened at Franklin County in their history. They've been very good. Late 70s, they were very good.
Not in the state championship game, but the state finals.
The state semifinals are tonight. And so I got to stop at practice. Last year, I fell into it. Didn't know what was happening. Well, I got a text or 2 or 3 or 4 this year from the coaching staff and some of the parents and said, hey, you need to stop by and check out our ugly Christmas sweater practice again. So on my way to Louisville, I just stopped at Franklin County High School, and here's some of the video. This was the team shot at the end of practice. I mean, these are great.
Plus, they're wearing their protectors on top of their helmets, right? They actually... some people may not know, but I live right across the street from Franklin County High School, and they invited the community out.
He bought that from The Rock. It's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You've got alums. Brian Station did it last year. Douglas, because they haven't been around too long, they don't have many alums, to flood the field the way some of these schools do. But I mean, these are some gaudy outfits, but it's fun. I've never had an ugly Christmas sweater.
No, I've never done that either. I've had some ugly sweaters, but not intentionally ugly Christmas. There's Santa putting, a left-handed Santa punting. And then did I see somebody wearing a CCM? Wasn't that the old Soviet Union thing?
No, it was CCR. It was CCCR, or CCCP, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
But here comes my favorite, this Christmas mood with a cow on it. That's pretty cute. But my favorite is this guy. He wore this last year. You wipe one side on the naughty, and then you just say, what?
How good is that?
Now you just wipe up and be on the nice side. So
how about that?
That's pretty cool. So
I need to find that out. The interesting thing is a lot of the high school kids, they might very well wear those pajama bottoms to school.
No question.
I mean, not the sweater, but it would not be unusual to...
But those, I want to say thank you again to the Franklin County folks.
Heck of a game tonight. What do you think?
It should be Boyle and Franklin. Boyle... Here's something that in Class 4A that, to my knowledge, has never happened.
Okay.
1959 was when the KHSAA began the postseason tournaments as we know them today.
Okay.
They've changed over the years. More rounds have been added and whatnot. But in Class 4A, Paducah Tillman, Covington Catholic, Boyle County, Franklin County are a combined 52-0. 4 undefeated teams battling to go to a state championship.
Wow. Has that ever happened in the state before?
Well, that's what I'm saying. To my knowledge, it has not.
If anybody would know, it would be you.
In 1998,
wow.
The 4 Class A schools that met in the semifinals combined for a 50-1 record. Middlesboro was the one which lost to Bell County 21-18 earlier in the year.
So we are guaranteed to have an undefeated 4A state champion.
That's correct. And but Franklin County, they went to the finals in 2020, lost to Boyle County on a fingertip. They have a great thing they put up there at Franklin County in their locker room, and it's a constant reminder. In 2020, the game went to overtime. Boyle kicks a field goal. Up 3, Franklin gets the ball, 4th down, pass is tipped away literally by a fingernail.
Right.
And they have on their board 4 yards, 3 points, 2nd place, 1 fingertip. Every detail matters.
That's
and I thought that is just, and I brought it up to Coach James again yesterday. He said, we keep it there.
That's like that's like the Al Pacino speech from Any Given Sunday. This game is a matter of inches, and we fight for every inch. But it's true.
That's right.
It's true. And home field, I think, is going to be so big in these playoffs. Boyle has got that great crowd, but they're going to be playing over in Frankfort. And I did not realize this to this season. And I mean, I live close to high school, but they put all those new bleachers up, and they basically
they did.
They moved the home side over to the far side of the field, and they're still using the press box on the other side.
Correct.
But I mean, it is greatly helped with the atmosphere, and more people can get in there. And I think it'll be a packed house tonight.
Oh, it will be, because as soon as we finish this in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we've got a couple of things to do upstairs, and then I'm heading out, because last week Corbin and Boyle played.
Yep.
And it was one for when the teams were warming up. An hour to an hour and a half before
Stands
the
were
game,
filled.
it was standing room only.
Here's what, if you get into that
That's
situation,
awesome.
I'll text you the address. You can park at my house.
Get an Uber driver across the street.
there's a bike. There's a bike in the garage. I won't be able to get over there till after the UK
With a
pregame
camera,
tonight.
a tripod, a backpack, a TVU backpack, a coat. I mean,
You'll just look like a New York City pizza delivery guy.
Good stuff. There are a lot of games across the state, which we will have highlights
There you go.
And here are we will have highlights of all of these games tonight. Also, one more for anyone watching on Log Mountain and Kettle Island and Bell County and places in between. Dudley Hilton and Bell County Bobcats will travel all the way to Hart County, Munfordville, to take on the Raiders. And they'll take with them the state's leading rusher, single-season all-time leading rusher in Daniel Thomas. But we will have Pikeville at Campbellsville, Somerset, Ocath. Lexington Catholic goes to Christian Academy. That could be a tough one for the Knights. Christian Academy, the defending 3A, that's Class 3A for Catholic and Christian Academy. Boyle, Franklin, Bryan Station, Ballard, Douglas, Trinity. Now that foursome right there is a rematch. Regular season rematches in the semifinals are so rare. We've got 2 of them located within about 6 miles of each other. Station beat Ballard, Douglas beat Trinity in the regular season, and now they're trying to do it again.
The one thing I see there, I don't see a lot of surprises, but would you have thought that at the beginning of the year that Lexington Catholic would be there in 3A?
I did, only because they dropped from 4A.
Okay, all right,
because it had been Boyle and Catholic. If you go back and look over the last decade plus, whoever won Boyle Catholic in the regular season, if they met again, would also win the postseason game.
Sure.
And so those are some of the games we're looking at tonight. There are many, many others. But we will have highlights of those games tonight, and looking forward to it. We do not have a Class 5A team this year, because that's all.
Douglas moved up from 5 to 6.
Yeah, Douglas moved from 5 to 6, and so they can no longer defend their title, but they are the reigning 5A champion. Let's talk UK basketball or UK football quickly. It's UK U of L tomorrow at noon from L&N Stadium, formerly known as Cardinal Stadium, and formerly known as the Pizza Palace, and formerly known as the Oven, the Big Slice. There's all kinds of stuff. So, is this the moment Louisville turns it around and says, for 4 years you've just whipped us and it's not been close? Or is this the moment Kentucky puts it all together enough to keep the stranglehold on the Governor's Cup and improve their bowl situation?
Boy, both great questions. I mean, it's not going to happen, but Louisville's still in the hunt for New Year's Day 6 game,
Sure
right?
They are.
I mean, top 10. Some people think if everything just fell apart, they could get up there into considehave
Wouldn't that be
for
amazing?
The playoff. Oh my
Jeff
gosh!
Brom.
In 1 year, right?
Good night, everybody. I'm out of here. See ya.
They have just been very consistent this year.
Yeah, they have.
Louisville has, and Kentucky has been anything but. But that doesn't mean they can't be.
Sure.
And I mean, the thing, frankly, that concerns me, and we haven't talked a lot about it on the air because we don't have time, but we can talk about it here. A lot of the tweets coming out last week from parents and players after that game. Everybody's frustrated, but that's the kind of stuff that, I'm not a big Harbaugh guy, but they asked him this week how he liked his locker room, and he took a page from Ted Lasso. He said, "I like it to be just like my mom's bathing suits, one piece."
God.
And anytime you see you hadn't heard that?
No.
Anytime you hear some of that dissension, it causes me concern.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but I mean, if Kentucky's going to win, they got to find more than 12 carries for Ray Davis.
No question.
Now they may load up the box or something, but they got to find more carries. They've got to get more consistency from the combined quarterback and receivers. And then I don't know if people are scheming. I don't know if Liam Cohen is trying to keep receivers happy by putting more on the field. But the tight end production, I mean, they've been really good catching the ball this year.
Josh Caddis and Dingle, yeah, no question. You mentioned something, though, it dawned on me. Mark Stoops said this last year, I believe. May have been the year before, but I'm pretty sure it was last year. He said, I've got 80 some odd guys on scholarship that I have to re-recruit every year.
There's no question.
And because of NIL, it is great, it's great for the kids to be able to make money off of their name, image, likeness, no doubt about it. Should have happened decades earlier. But if you're not happy, hey, you know what, Buzz? Coach Buzz, I'm out of here. See you, bye. Well, wait, let's talk. No, I'm not getting the ball enough. I'm not playing enough. I'm not doing this enough. That is a byproduct of NIL. And it's not fair, I don't think, to the coaches, to your teammates. What happened to this world where I'm going to work my
fight through
butt
adversity
off to get to where I want to be?
Mike Leach tragically passes away last year before Mississippi State's bowl game. They hired the defensive coordinator to be the interim and then the full-time coach. That doesn't work out. They fired him, a couple of weeks ago, I think it is now, or something like that. Mississippi State played a really good game last night at home, still lost to Ole Miss by 10. And I mean, literally, within hours of that game being over with, Twitter is lighting up with the fact that, what is it, Will Rogers? I keep wanting to call him
Mississippi State.
Roy Rogers, that he was going to transfer.
Yep.
Doesn't know who the new coach is or anything like that. He's just, it's, but I would say this, I mean, and I understand it's a business, but it's like athletic directors that fire their coaches because they want to be first out there in the market so they can be above board and talk to other candidates and everything. But I guess Will Rogers is out there first, and I just can't imagine that he wouldn't be approached by Kentucky.
Yeah.
Based on what they've done historically.
And if you are a backup quarterback, let's just do that position
Everybody's favorite quarterback is the backup quarterback.
Unless you are constantly being recruited over to bring in the newest hired gun.
Sure.
What's my man at Notre Dame? Sam.
I know who you're talking.
Quarterback.
Hartman?
Yeah, great beard, great hair. Man, he's the guy every guy wants to be. Mm-hmm. And he was at Wake Forest and then transfers to Notre Dame, and everybody at Notre Dame said, "Oh, we love you, we love you." And then Wake Forest coach comes out this week and says, "You rented him. You don't know him. We recruited him. We built him. We coached him. We loved him. We did this, we did that," and he left. What do you know about him? I mean, I thought, but he's not wrong.
He's a different kind of guy. He was Phil Fulmer's last offensive coordinator at Tennessee before they got canned, and he brought him in. And he's been a really good head coach. He was not ready to be a coordinator to program with the eyeballs on it like Tennessee.
Sure.
I remember they used to have a media availability the night before the game, and then they would talk to us. I mean, he talked to us for like literally about 4 minutes or something. And then when they got the regular media ready to go, the guy I'm not exaggerating. It was like Cutler chasing Billy Gillespie. I mean, he sprinted out of the other end of Neyland Stadium.
I could do this all day, Billy.
I mean, he just sprinted. So, I mean, he's a guy that will speak his mind. But, and you're right, he's not wrong. But by the same token, those guys continue to take a check in this system.
That's right.
And there's never a problem with the check.
Nope. That's correct.
It is. It is the line. What is this? What's the line? It is the profession we've chosen, or whatever.
Oh, the Godfather. This is the business.
Business. Yeah, that's what it is. That's
right. Attaboy.
Don Vito.
All right. So who wins tomorrow? UK U of L.
Well, I don't know. What is it? A 7-8 point spread?
6.5 to 7. It's fluctuated.
I certainly hope the Cats win. Want the Cats to win. I don't know what happens with the outcome. However.
So he means U of L's going to win.
However, if I was wagering a milkshake with a friend of mine or something, and if you have a problem with too many milkshakes, you can get help. Call 1-800. I would take the points.
I got milkshakes up in the fridge.
They do?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What fridge?
The sports fridge.
Wow. I would take the points. I hope they can put it all together. I don't get stuff started like a lot of people. I think I think this is maybe the biggest game for Mark Stoops since that South Carolina game, where many people would tell you that if they don't kick the field goal to win it,
right,
that he ain't still coaching here.
Right.
And I think that game, and I'm not saying that he's under heat, whether he should be or not. I think depending on what happens in this game, you know, if it were to go south, might cause him to take a really reflective look at where he is. I'm not saying anything's going to happen. I just think the game has a lot of big ramifications for this Kentucky program beyond the final score and the bowl implications.
31-23 Louisville. 31-23. I think for some reason, the 31 scares me for U of L because I think UK's defense has been tested much more thoroughly than U of L. But something tells me 31-23.
The other thing, and again, none of us are perfect. And Lord knows I've said some goofy stuff before. Easy. But you know, I think Mark Stoops certainly had kept in mind for a year the Shane Beamer dance there in the locker room, right?
Didn't get to do it.
And if you remember what Stoops said over there, you know, they have a alumni gathering for the UK Alumni Club in Louisville. And I believe his quote was something about the trophy or something. He goes, "Wow, I'm really surprised to see that over here." And I'm gonna guess that
I love the small digs. I love them.
But I'm gonna guess that's been repeated a time or two over the season, and especially this week.
Well, someone at UK damaged the trophy last year.
Yeah.
It looked like anything but a Governor's Cup. It looked like I don't even know what shape it was, but it had been damaged.
Let me say this too before we go, and you can speak to this because you're a Louisville native. There is nobody, I don't think, collectively, more invested in Louisville football than the Braun family.
No question. They are the first family of Louisville.
Oh my gosh. And you've heard people talk about these rivalry games, and coaches correctly say, you know, these kids don't know anything about this rivalry. They're playing. The Brahms know about the rivalry. Yeah. And they had to consider all this. And they are, this is not a knock at anybody, okay? But I mean, my experience with them, they're a really honorable bunch. And I think Jeff would have taken that job when it came open the last time, but it was just too soon. He was not going to leave Purdue in a lurch.
Yeah. It was also in bowl game after bowl game after bowl game.
He was, but this is the ultimate destination for him. He could go on and coach in the NFL or something like that, but I mean, based on the interactions I've had, what I know from people like you and others, this is where he never sold his house in Louisville.
That's cool.
When he was over he never sold his house. He knew he was coming back. It wasn't because it was a great investment.
Yeah.
Never sold the crib.
But he was
so that's not gonna determine who wins and loses. Yeah. But I tell you, they will be laser focused on the implications for what that game has for them and what's happened recently.
There is no way to separate UK U of L, the game, what means more, who needs it the most. But for Louisville, the city of, the athletics program of Louisville, they need this game.
Oh, sure.
More than UK needs it, because UK's beaten Louisville more times than not. This rivalry has been cyclical. You look at 4 in a row here, 3 in a row here, 3 there, 4 there. It's gone that way. And it's now time for Louisville, if they are to win, they could have could be sitting on something special right now, and that's because that entire athletics program, the majority of it, has really been under some hard times, as we know.
Well, let me
final quote from Dave Baker before we get upstairs.
Okay, all right. So let me say one thing here, and remember the Louisville program. I was seeing if I got any nasty texts because I probably will after I say this.
I'm waiting on mine too.
But the UK helped really build and propel the U of L football program to the next level. Just a quick overview. So Kentucky is struggling under Bill Curry. They had a game in November, weekend like this, except it was like 100 degrees colder. And they got beat at home by one of the
Northeast Louisiana
directional schools. Yeah, it was Northeast or Monroe or something. And in Northeast now, Louisiana, Monroe, seems like there's not.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
something
you're right
like
on
that. So anyway.
Former 1AA powerhouse.
Yes, so place was empty. CM Newton was looking at awful season ticket sales. Yeah. And that's when they got together and came up with the game. It was the infamous meeting over at the Long John Silver's in Shelbyville.
Isn't that so great?
I don't know if it's still there or not. But anyway, what they decided was they would play the first game in Kentucky.
They would play at
in
UK
Lexington
until U of L got the stadium.
And if if Louisville didn't have the stadium built by the second year, they would play the first two in Louisville. If they didn't have it by the third year, then the deal was off.
Right.
And they just thought they were going to go in and run roughshod over them. And guess what? Didn't happen. Got the stadium on their way. It really put them in a position where they could say no, which in hindsight was a wonderful decision. Remember, Mitch McConnell or somebody had teed it up for him to go to the Big 12. And they said no. Didn't think it was a good fit. Then it's a really good fit now in the ACC. And so all that snowball just started going downhill. And then when I think it went to another level when they finally, and that was the other thing. CM had the game as the first game of the season. Right. To help with season ticket sales. Nobody else plays a stinking rivalry game, first game of the year,
Rich
right?
Brooks hated it.
Why not?
That's why he got it pushed to the third game.
Yes, you don't know what you got.
Yeah.
That's when they started going. It was first game when it was Louisville.
Correct.
Third game here at UK, and now it's in the spot where it should be when everybody's home for the weekend and they can ball out. The only problem is because of all this TV stuff, it's going up against Ohio State and Michigan.
That was my argument years ago. You cannot beat Ohio State, Michigan. You cannot beat a Florida State. Take your rivalry, because it's not what UK and U of L have never been. Probably will never be on that level unless U of L and UK can start playing like Class 4A football and everybody goes undefeated.
I just hope Connor Stallions has not been in Lexington this week. Well, after he got fired at Michigan, he didn't have anything to do. So, I mean, was he in Columbia last weekend trying to get plays?
You never know.
I'm just kidding.
We're going to get out of here.
Thanksgiving humor.
We're going to turn off our microphones and get out of here.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Hold it. What about Friday night? High school game time.
11:15 or so. I'll be coming to you from Franklin County. Lee K will be here in studio. Lindsay will be at Rupp Arena. So we've got everybody all over the place.
Spanning the globe to cover the constant variety of sport.
Turn off the mic back there. All right, here we go. We're going to get out of here.
Victory.
See you later. Have a good
agony of defeat.